I'm going there. So I'm going to be putting up content soon about how Jesus doesn't really perform any positive mitzvot of Judaism. Very few positive mitzvot of Judaism. And to tell you the truth, he looks more like a Sadducee than anything. But anyway, so in this video, I'm going to talk about the 6 mitzvot to remember and how Jesus didn't do any of it. And the New Testament is pretty much devoid of some of this stuff too. So it should be pretty quick. But so basically, there's 6 mitzvot to remember. They're positive mitzvot that as long as you remember them every single day, it's counted to your credit. It's a mitzvah from the Torah. So to remember what Amalek did to us on the way when we left Egypt, how they cut down the ones trailing behind us, Amalek is nowhere to be found in the Gospels and in the entire New Testament. Amalek is devoid of mention in the New Testament. And Amalek, to remember what Amalek did, is also a negative mitzvot in the sense that the Torah tells us, do not forget what Amalek did to us, okay? Do not forget. It also says remember, but it also says do not forget. So you actually can fulfill 2 mitzvot at the same time. But anyway, let's continue. So remember what happened to Miriam when she spoke against Moses, basically concerning Moses' wife, which is basically like a gossip. And Miriam is nowhere to be found in the Gospels, and I believe nowhere to be found in the New Testament. Next, remember the incident of the golden calf, how we angered God. The golden calf is nowhere to be found in the Gospels. It's mentioned, I think, a couple other times in the New Testament, in Acts, and maybe Chronicles. But basically, it's kind of devoid of mention in the New Testament aside from that. But it's definitely not in the Gospels, and Jesus certainly didn't talk about it. I wonder why. Next, remember the day we left Egypt. So that would be Passover. Now, there's no mention of Jesus performing or partaking of any sacrifices, whether from Pesach or Passover or otherwise. There is no mention of Jesus. I'll say this again. There is no mention of Jesus partaking of any sacrifices. He does not participate in the sacrificial system at all in the New Testament. His family did when he was a young boy, it appears, but he does not participate in that. That's very odd, isn't it? Silence is golden. All right. So you might say, well, the Last Supper, he was doing a Pesach Seder. According to the book of John, the Last Supper occurred before the lambs for Pesach were slaughtered. I'm sorry. They weren't brought on the altar, but they were ritually slaughtered. So that's very telling. That's extremely telling. Number 5, remember the day we met God at Mount Sinai. So the festival of Shavuot. Shavuot is coming up. It's the next major holiday for us. But it's nowhere to be found in the Gospels. There's no mention of Jesus going to Jerusalem for Shavuot, which the absence is significant since it is a command for all men with few exceptions. Like if you were crippled, you didn't have to go. Women didn't have to go, but men did. It is the holiday where we entered the covenant with God and received the Torah. 2 things that I challenge that Christianity is trying to abrogate. So here we go. And then the last of the 6 mitzvot to remember is to remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Okay, Jesus, this is the only one that's mentioned in the New Testament Gospels. So Jesus only mentions the Sabbath when others confront him that he doesn't observe it properly. This is the only one of the 6 mitzvot to remember that are mentioned in the New Testament Gospels. Isn't that amazing? That is wow. Like when you really look at this stuff and you see, sometimes you have to like put a filter like that on and be like, what isn't mentioned. Not what is mentioned, but what isn't mentioned. So I challenge everybody, go through and read the Gospels and have a list of the 248 positive mitzvot of the written Torah and dig in and see which ones did Jesus promote or participate in. I will be doing a video on this in the future, Bezrat Hashem, God willing, and it will blow your mind. Just like these 6 mitzvot to remember, whenever I went through this blew my mind. But it shouldn't, because Christianity is an abrogation of Judaism. It's not trying to promote Judaism at all. It's trying to create a pacifist, messianic movement so that the Romans didn't have the Jewish or Judean opposition to their rule. So thanks for watching.